I'm Steve Wood, recovered alcoholic. Welcome to Big Book Compendium. So one thing that I've always been fascinated about Alcoholics Anonymous is, we're so diverse, so many different backgrounds and everything. We're people who normally wouldn't mix, they like to say, and we come from all these different, from the streets, from jail, from just different areas, different political aspects, rich, poor. But there's one area that's very diverse, is our spiritual or / religious backgrounds. And some grew up in religion and stayed, religious, and some of us grew up in religion and became, atheist, or some of us atheist their whole life, and some grew up in religion and became agnostic. Some were agnostic their whole life, and some were, you hear in the fist stuff like damaged. They believe they're damaged by the religious upbringing with the overdose religious education. And some say God never worked for me, and I thought he wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, for some, the idea of God growing up was punishing. Maybe you looked at them as angry or unloving and critical and humorless and hard to find, and this long white beard up in the clouds. And hopefully by the time you get to step 11, you have a new conception of God, or something that's away from that child conception of God I just mentioned. But the dark truth is many in Alcoholics Anonymous, the idea of God is very intimidating and scares people. And for some, the first time we walked in, for me, actually, the first time I walked in a meeting, looked up on the wall and I saw step 3, my stomach dropped. And I've heard people say the same thing when they saw step 11 or heard step 11 read. I don't want to improve that thing with God, and, blah, blah. I don't want that. And can I do this without it? But the beauty is that we can choose our own conception as we understand them, or as we don't understand them. And then there's simply, the simplicity that the big book offers. And I think that this is very overlooked. We'll go to page 55 really quick. And when I say it's overlooked is you hear people at meetings still talking about, oh, I don't know about God and everything like that. But the big book, if they read the big book, we can find a simplicity that makes sense, and, won't keep our minds spinning on what God might be, or whatever you want to call it. So it says, top of 55, actually, we're fooling ourselves. We're deep down, every man, woman, child, the fundamental idea of God. So they're saying, all of us here have some idea, or meaning of God. But I think what they're even saying there is you can take a, stadium full of people, and there's not going to be anyone that doesn't have some idea of God. But look what it says. It says it may be obscured by calamity, it's chaos or drama, by pomp, it's pride, by worship of other things. But in some form or another, it is there. For faith and the power great in ourselves, and miraculous demonstrations of that power, in human lives are fact as old as man himself. We finally saw that faith in some kind of God was a part of our makeup, just as much as feeling for a friend. And here's the condition to find God that we had to do. Sometimes we had to search fearlessly, but he was there. Fearlessly, sounds like 4-9. He was much as fact as we were. We found the great reality deep down within us, and it's the last analysis, as we're looking everywhere else. It is only there where he may be found. That's Bill Wilson's pretty straightforward there, where mostly people were, looking for God or found God. It was so with us. So the great reality he's saying is God, and it's within us, but it could be obscured by calamity, drama, pride, that's all the instincts, high and low self-esteem, emotional security, the worship of other things, resentment, fear, all we can keep going. And that creates the inability to connect to this spirit within, where we only get glimpses of his presence within us. And that inability creates an illusion that we're separated from God. Because how can we be separated? It's an illusion, because how can we be separated from what's been within us our whole life? And the condition they gave us here is we had to search fiercely. How do we do that? Steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're on step 11 now. So something has been removed within us so we can get a glimpse of this great, reality. So we made a decision to take that action. And what happens by doing, we discover it, what we're looking for. And it says, he was much as fact as we were, we find out. We're awakened, God consciousness. We do step 10 to clear the ground with God. Clear the ground with God. And I love like what page 28 says, what seemed at first a flimsy reed has proved to be a loving hand of God. A new life handed to us. He calls it the design of living. So look what also says in 55. It's the promises of this God consciousness. We can only clear the ground a bit if our testimony helps sweep away prejudice, and it means old ideas. Resentment's an old idea. Enables you to think honestly, knowing where you're at, encourages you to search diligently, I mean, it's thorough, within yourself. It's 4 through 9 we do that with. Then if you wish, you can join us on the broad highway, and the broad highway is living in 10, 11, 12 while making your old amends, and hopefully we get past those. With this attitude, and the attitude is the willingness to always look within with honesty. With this attitude, you cannot fail. Cannot means never. You can never fail. The conscience of your belief, that's the awareness of God, is sure to come to you. So today we're going to talk about improving our conscious contact with God and walking on the broad highway in step 11. So I'm going to start off with I love this story, one here. I've heard it many times. And one day a young man went out to find enlightenment. And he looks for it everywhere. He's walking around, he's looking for the trees, he's looking in the valley, he's looking for it everywhere. He's just in vain. And he comes to this river. And he's like, I need to get over there, to the other side of the river. And then, he ponders for hours, how to cross this, obstacle. And just when he's about to walk away and give up, his guru is on the other side of the river. And he goes, hey, guru, master, can you, tell me how to get the other side of the river? And the guru ponders and he looks around for a second and he yells back, my son, you're already on the other side. See, the moral here is when we become awakened, we get so concerned with finding enlightenment. So we start meditating, looking for it. Meditation is not about finding enlightenment. It's about growing in enlightenment because we've already found it. We've been with this outer world for so long, which provides very limited perspective of who we are and what we truly can be and who I am. It is our inner world that houses all the information we truly need to survive. And within that, that's where we discover the strength we've always wanted, the knowledge we've always thought we had, the directions we've been looking for, the guidance, clarity, inspiration, encouragement, whatever you love, whatever you're looking for, it's there. And it's within that life is born. And the hardest thing for many is to let this new inner world run the outer world, so to speak, or feel that how they can bring it out, but we learn that meditation by receiving guidance. We learn that in meditation from receiving guidance and direction. And once we have learned how to enter our, that world within, we have this, intertemporal, we can just this beautiful retreat place we can go to. It's available. And the best thing about it is it's portable. Meaning you can take it wherever you want to go. Let's go to page 85. And it says step 11. So remember that we're on step 11. We're not on 10 anymore. So he just finished 10. I'm going to bring that up again. That's why we have book studies to point this stuff out. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. I highly suggest it. Let's say do it. prayer is, in the simplicity aspect, is talking to God, and it's asking. When we see the word ask, it's a prayer. For like I mentioned about guidance, inspiration, how you can help others. So meditation in the simplest form is listening to God. That period of silence so we can comprehend intuitive messages from deep down within. It helps, for me, it helps me be more clear when I empty. So and that's where I become one with God. And hopefully stay that way for a bit. But look what it says, we shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men we are using it constantly. Constantly means continuously. Without interruption, that means practice over and over again, constantly. It works. And there's two conditions. If you have the proper attitude and work at it, not two big conditions, two simple conditions. The proper attitude, step 10 will keep me in the proper attitude, and working at it will be if I'm in the proper attitude. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. So the suggestion they're going to offer here is kind of like a two-way prayer type of thing. It's basically like a 24-hour plan, and it's very good for, I think as we go longer in the meditation, we graduate to deeper avenues, but it's very good to start at the beginning when we first start. But what we're going to look at first is called the nightly review. And a review is an examination where for this examination, we're trying, to institute some type of change within us. And many say we use this review to get rid of defects. It is a review, not inventory. 429 is getting rid of defects, meaning 24-hour plan is not step 10. For one thing, we just said it's step 11, and we already went over step 10 a few pages back. That's step 10. So these questions prior to meditation, we're going to look at to help us bring awareness and to prepare us for the meditation. It's kind of like a prayer in itself. And while we're doing this night review, our 10 step should be right next to us at all times. And should be in our pocket during the day, but we'll get into that. But when we retire at night, we constructively review our day. So when I'm constructively looking at something, I'm analyzing it to find improvements. It's simple as that. The opposite of destructively, which means to disapprove, discredit, negative, all that stuff. But when we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? And I've come to the conclusion, doing this a few times, that I like to make those separate questions and say them slowly to really look at them, because I find a lot of these words have more than just one sometimes in it. Was I resentful? Was I selfish? Was I dishonest? Was I afraid? So for when I do, I close my eyes and I ask myself those questions. Simple questions. And if you answer yes to those questions, you got your inventory sheet right next to you, right? Sometimes, as soon as you answer yes to resentment, go and then ask yourself, is that resentment? Is there more than one resentment within that resentment? What I mean is, you might resent one person, but you might have 5 different style resentments. So do we want an apology? If I don't apology, maybe I need to make an amends. Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Do I have inventory to discuss with my sponsor or whoever? So here's some good journalizing questions. Were we kind and loving towards all? Not kind and loving towards all. Is that possible? A lot of people don't think that's possible. The all part. They say they want to do it. I go back to the good book. The Bible says, if you say you love God and have enemies, I call you a liar. Right? So it's the same thing. Were we kind and loving towards all? This is something to think about. What could we have done better? Were we thinking of what we could we're thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking what we could do for others and what we could pack into the stream of life? Notice how he always brings focus to others. Very important. Now here's a warning. But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. Again, others. After making our review, here's a prayer. We ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. You can make that question more towards, your aspect of spirituality there. If you don't want to ask for forgiveness, if it's something you want to go in deeper aspect on, or a different avenue. But after asking, the questions, you pray and meditate how you can fix things, or what more you need. Maybe you need to see the whole picture. But this is about retraining the mind and getting to know the mind. This is a mind that we haven't really gone into and, looked into too often. And now it's been cleared from this stuff. So the night review should be done every night and shouldn't take, too long to do. But it's a companion of step 10. It's not step 10. And remember, the 12 and 12 says, and this is a very important thing, one of the best things in 12 and 12 says, there's a direct linkage between self-examination, meditation, and prayer. Taken separately, these practices can be much relief and benefit. But when logically interwoven, I love that, the result is an unshakable foundation for life. So meditation comes, with two conditions for success. One, stay committed, do it every day. And the other condition is, before you meditate, you got to be doing inventory. It's really hard to get in. We don't want to go in that darkness, and this keeps your heart and mind, that'll keep your heart mind clear from resentment. So remember what I said last week, where we really have the daily reprieve is contingent on the maintenance and growth of our spiritual condition. Our daily reprieve is what we're doing in step 11. The growth of our spiritual condition is step 10. So my step 11 is dependent upon that. Look what it says next. Morning intention. So an intention is an ideal, a goal, a plan. And it's something I intend to carry out. It is the power to create something, intention, to live a life of abundance and focusing on that. But simply trusting our intuitive feelings, or our new awareness, and the intentions simply flow. It's meaning they can become reality. So morning intentions. On awakening, that means not morning, it says awakening. So awakening, and when our eyes open up and we can kind of know what day it is. On awakening, let's think about the 24 hours ahead, right? We consider our plans for the day. So lay out your spiritual plans for the day. Do I got an amends to make today? I got to fist up with that guy. I got to call that one dude. Then you start looking at your third dimensional plans, work, family, and this and that. And it all comes together in the same place. But before we begin, we ask, here's a prayer. We pray to God to direct our thinking, especially be divorced. That means separated from self-pity, dishonest, and self-seeking motives. So in this prayer, we're asking to be separated from resenting ourselves, from being, dishonest, and carrying out harm. And you're asking yourself, do I have that in mind right now? Am I resenting myself? Am I angry? You'll know. It's very important, because he's setting us up for something. Under these conditions, we apply our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. So use them correctly. It's a very powerful computer when you use it right. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of what? Wrong motives. In thinking of our day, we may face indecision. So indecision means doubt. What creates doubt? Fear. In thinking of our day, we may face fear. One thing is again, inventory is very helpful with this. It's interwoven together. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here's another prayer. Here we ask God, we pray for inspiration and intuitive thought or decision. Now that can grow and grow and grow within that prayer. So inspiration is simply the idea that will provoke us into some type of action. Intuitive thought is the ability to understand something immediately. And there's not much conscious reasoning involved. I see it. And we know what a decision is. It's a key thought of the human thought process. We've done that before. We gather facts and which action, whether that we need to take action on something. Basically saying if you are stuck in fear, find the inspiration to make the right decision and then trust it. We're all that right there. We're preparing a mind for meditation. And look what it says. So here's a meditation. We relax. We take it easy. We don't struggle. We're often surprised how the right answers will come after we tried this for a while. There's a condition. The meditation condition is that it comes with us after a while. It's the biggest condition of meditation. Try it for a while. And how many of us have tried it 2 or 3 times in our life? And I don't know if it's for me. I was told to try it for 60 days, and about I don't know, 36 days, I went, hey, this thing works. But we never know, what it's like to swim until we jump in the water, right? We don't know what meditation is like till we sincerely make it a practice. And every person who has tried this honestly will find that power, will find that power that basically you find that temple inside of you that maybe you found it in 6 and 7. Maybe it's that place. You can always go back there, and we just have to try it for a while. There's an amazing story of the bamboo tree. And the story of the bamboo tree is like this, the Japanese bamboo tree. And you plant the seed in the ground and you water it for 5 years. 5 years. You don't see anything coming out of the ground. And after watering it for 5 years, boom. In 6 months, it grows 80 feet to 100 feet tall. You think you're watering dirt for 5 years. What's the bamboo tree doing underground? It's creating its foundation for a very heavy 80-foot tree. And the roots are amazing underground. And, just because we're practicing something, whether it's meditation, working out, or getting healthy, we can't give up just because we don't see results right away. The results are there. So here are step 11 promises. And these are deep. These are very deep. Step 11 promises. After we've done this for a while, what used to be a hunch or occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. So that hunch is like a forewarning from our intuition of something, something is true, or maybe it's something we shouldn't be doing, that hunch inside of us. What used to be a hunch. So it's just a occasional forewarning we would get. Impression is, occasional means time to time, right? Inspiration, comes from within, what provokes to take action. So working means always happening, right? In a nutshell, the occasional truth that you heard once in a while from your gut, we call conscious, you have that inspiration daily. And we can go to that you go from the spiritual malady, that illusion we're separated from God, to oneness with God. And steps 4 to 9 take us to there. And now we're living day to day in that awakening, because the daily meditation, the spirit, and mind merge. Your thinking becomes one with God's thinking, and self-centeredness dissolves and slips away. Where we turn selfless. People try to tell you can't be. It's because it's a selfish program, right? It's a complete shift from what's in me to love and service for others. Only the steps can do that. And in this state of oneness with God, you feel like you can accomplish things organically, naturally, effortlessly. The embryo, becomes a baby, starts fighting. It does it effortlessly. It becomes what it's programmed to do. The birds fly south in the winter, north, and in the spring effortlessly. They're doing what they're programmed to do. The caterpillar goes into the cocoon to be transformed. It actually evaporates and turns into something more beautiful, the butterfly, effortlessly, because it's programmed what it's supposed to do. The acorn that looks nothing like the image and likeness of its creator, the oak tree, it falls to the ground and knows exactly where to get water and sunlight and the right soil. It has all the information to survive. It's doing what it's programmed to do, and it becomes the oak tree. And what makes the flower bloom? The average person will say, oh, sunshine, water, light, and a good gardener. All those things help. But what if I told you it's got to be something more, like an inner consciousness, something within the flower that causes it to bloom? They bloom because that's in their program. Flowers are not beautiful because of their vibrant colors, because of their scent. They're beautiful because they are unbelievably happy for no reason. You never seen a mad looking flower, have you? It's blooming. They do not seek approval or fear. They don't fear the other flowers. They never fight, compete, nothing like that. They coexist, thrive peacefully together in the garden. They never question anything. All they do is follow that program. They follow what they're programmed to do. And all these life forms are the ultimate symbol of spiritual growth. And that's God's unlimited potential. Are we any different from those other life forms? We have all the information to survive. We have a program within to survive. Meditation is to be connecting to the inner program and listening within to its information. You think about a computer. I'm self-taught on the computer. And I still learn things all the time because I'm always doing something. And sometimes I got to go almost like into the computer, hypothetically. I look back and I look at meditation is almost like doing the same thing within my mind. I have to go inside there and self-taught of what I see and learn. I want to be able to have an effortless life like the oak tree. It's with the oak trees within the acorn. The caterpillar, when I see a caterpillar, I see a butterfly. When I see a seed, I see a flower. When I see God, I see you. Or when I say you, I see God, which way you look at it. Which means if you trust and you follow your inner program, you too can be the image and likeness of your creator, whatever that is. And ask yourself, do I have union with God? It's not knowing about God, it's knowing God. It's not acting spiritual, it's living spiritual. Being one with God's thinking. It's not looking out here, it's looking in daily. There's no middle of the road here. God either is or isn't. So back to the book. What used to be a hunch or occasional inspiration, gradually, there's that gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Gradually. Beautiful thing. Where'd everybody go? Oh, there they are. That was weird. My thing disappeared for a second. Gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still experiencing and just make conscious contact with God, it is not probable we're going to be inspired at all times. We might pray for this presumption, all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Presumption means, we're jumping, to conclusions without information, without information. It's a theory. Why? Because we're in experience. Does anyone suffer from that? Sure. I don't like to use the word suffer, but, trapped in that. All that means is you need to keep doing step 10, 49 daily, meditate, keep making your amends and sponsor your ass off. None of that will ever, bring you away from God. What it will do is bring you closer. And no, that's the relationship that God we're forming. Nevertheless, we find our thinking as time passes to be more and more in a plane of inspiration, and we come to rely upon it. The more inspiration we receive, the more action we take. The more action we take, the more we know God. We usually conclude our period of meditation with the prayer that was shown on the altar today, what the next step should be. That we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. Here's the prayer. We ask especially freedom from self-will and are careful to make no requests for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many have wasted a lot of time doing so. It doesn't work. You can easily see why. I like that prayer, but for me, the third step prayer keeps me grounded a little bit more. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wise friends to join us in morning meditation, which is cool. If we belong to religious domination, which requires definite morning devotion, we attend to that as well. Also says it. If not members of religious bodies, we may sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. Then there are many helpful books out there also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be careful to see these religious people are right. Make use of what they have to offer. I went to the Buddhist monastery to learn entry-level meditation at first, and I went to ashrams and a couple other places, and I wanted more. I went to the people that I just asked people. Let's look at a few more parts for morning meditation, what the book says. Let's go to page 69, and it's going to mention morning meditation. Well, I don't know if it's morning, but it's page 69. It says, in meditation, we ask God what we should do about each specific matter. The rest of it will come if we want it. I point that out because if we want it, part of if we want it is letting God, you let, the answer. 83, more morning stuff. It says, so we clean house with the family. It's step 9, asking prayer. So here's a prayer, asking each morning in meditation that our Creator show us the way of patience, tolerance, kindness, and love. 4 more things to pray for or focus on, either way you would look at it. Patience, tolerance, kindness, and love. 164. That's the way he closes the book, but we'll be looking at this in a few weeks again. But it says, God will tell you all that you need to know. That's a deep statement right there. God will tell you all you need to know. This is a prayer. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who's still sick. That should be part of your prayer if you're sponsoring your meditation. The answers will come if your own house is in order. So if I don't get those answers, I'm not doing inventory. Or 49. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact this book carries. So your meditation, your daily, step 10, doing that is going to not only help you, it's going to help others, because you're going to pass it on to them, but you're going to be a different individual. You're not going to be creating controversy and harming people as much, hopefully not. So we looked at a nightly review. We're going to go back to where we were, 84, 85, whatever it is. Look for the nightly review and a morning intention. So now let's look at what does during the day look like. And some people forget this part. They have a little card that says 24-hour plan, and it says morning and evening on it. It does not say during the day, and it's right there in the book. So let's see the secret part that's in here. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated. Agitated, restless, irritable, and discontent. The high anxiety, usually pissed off and not satisfied. We used to say resentful in a nutshell. or doubtful. That's that feeling of uncertainty, skeptical. And, as we go through the day, we may pause when we go through the day, we pause and agitated or doubtful and ask as a prayer for the right action. So pause means to stop an action. Very simple direction. When angry, pause and ask for the right direction. Whatever, that's something that's going to adapt over time when you pause. I shouldn't be doing this. What the F am I thinking? Oh my God, what was I going to do? There is no greater gift than we have. We have access that if this was, it's called the pause button right here, right? Hypothetically, we have that pause button. It's the greatest gift we have. There's no greater gift to not get the last word in is, not be right all the time. It's the ultimate, it's the pause button is the ultimate spiritual anger management tool. It's the only anger management tool you need. But, living in God consciousness, we're not driven by anger, hopefully anymore. It's, it's said a few while back, we cease fighting anything. We think before we speak, not, say what we think. And maybe before you open your mouth, ask yourself, are my words true? Are they kind? Are they necessary? Especially the necessary one. Are these words really going to be necessary I have to say? But I got to tell them the numbers are wrong, or something, whatever it might be, or that their religion's wrong, something, who knows? Or I got to explain my resentment I have. That doesn't get us very far. It says we constantly, continually remind ourselves we are no longer running a show. Humbly, is another prayer, humbly saying to ourselves, thy will be done, thy will be done, thy will be done. It's a beautiful little mantra to remind us we're no longer running the show. By following the day directions, we get some promises. So look at these promises. We are then in a much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. So if we follow these directions, it puts us in the ideal mindset to see just how, powerful these promises are. Let's look at the opposite of excitement, fear, anger, self-pity, foolish decision. That would be the opposite of those of what we truly want is peace, courage, calmness, joy, happiness, and saying this. You don't really have to focus on it or we don't try to have that. It happens automatically. If we do that, all we got to do is to work. More promises. We become much more efficient, more productive. We get stuff done. So by not being stuck in fear and wasting a whole day, by pausing and praying, we become more productive. We stay in, in that oneness with God. Sticking to commitment we made in step 3. More promises. We do not tire so easy. If we're not burning up foolish energy we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. So a big part of the spiritual life is having, I don't want to say high energy, but just positive flowing energy really well. And because that's the energy, that's the fuel of really good meditation. If I'm burning up the positive energy, I'm negative, I probably need to do step 10. And my energy level is going to be so low, and it's the focus, the challenge, and receive what I'm looking for. It's calm and positive and sane. Meditation is a powerful vehicle it can be. Notice their promises. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in a simple way we just outlined. So that's why we have the 24-hour plan. We're undisciplined, he's saying, and we let God discipline us in a simple way we just outlined. Simple way. It's a very good introductory level. So meditation is that tool to let God do his thing, and spiritual discipline develops us to grow. No spirit, so we can follow the inner program and that we have. We can, if we follow that, just like those other things, we follow the inner program. Where's it going to bring us? We follow our program, but that is not all. There's action and more action. So at the end of every step, he says more action. Faith That Works is Dead. The next chapter devoted to step 12. This will be in the coming week, so we're going to look at that. So about step 11. So commitment, practicing step 11 every morning. I do, I would say for me, it's like 20 minutes in the morning, 10 to 20 minutes at night, somewhere in between then, maybe longer. But daily morning meditation will not make me immune to having about a difficult day. It will have her empower me to face whatever comes my way. And I'll take the action, do it. It just puts me in that place, the focus. And, for meditation, we need, I'm gonna give you some advice here. It's just, you need the right setting. We know that the morning one is upon awakening, the evening one's at evening. Stick to those times. Try and do it at the same times. Find an ideal place where you live, where your house or wherever you're at, that's you choose just from meditation. Don't skip around a different place. A second place, a quiet place where you want, where you'll be alone. Maybe you create a little shrine. You won't be disturbed. A place where, like I said, only for prayer and meditation. And that's why it's important to always use the same place as possible. And one of the keys of meditation is a proper mindset. That's why we ask ourselves the questions, and that's why we're doing step 10. It's so important, have proper mindset before going in. But we also need the proper materials. Maybe for some, it might be a pen and a notebook because they want to write down some of the things they get. Puts the words they're receiving on paper. It's simply just at the beginning, sitting upright and quietly speaking to God and listening and listening, listening, and act on that. So over the years, I've come across 6 A's with God. 6 A's with God. The first one is attitude. I always need to grow the proper attitude towards God and other people. We've been doing these steps, so hopefully it's there. The next A with God is action. Faith without works is dead, 4-12. Next A with God is asking, proper prayer. Proper prayer. And that means will, directions, guidance, strength from others. Answers, meditation. The next day, I'm asking God prayer, I'm asking God meditation, I'm waiting for the answer. Awakened is the next day. That's awakening in the consciousness of your true nature, the image and likeness of God. Awareness, probably the most important of all these A's, next to action. Spiritual awareness means, the divine within, God conscious, fourth dimension existence, sixth sense. Hopefully you get straight A's in all these. So let's run through this really quick. Action, asking, answers, awaken, awareness. Very important. So, some people want to call their connection to God a relationship with God. I almost like to call it a friendship, because friendship is with God it's very essential to me. I can't exist without it, and it's the safest place I can go. I can just pull up this chair and know what I'm going to get. I can sit back and go into this beautiful temple inside. And what I love the most about this, I'll say, friendship with God, is a very calm place. It's very comforting. Just a sense of his presence gives me comfort. Just talking about it right now gives me comfort. My hair stand up my arms when I'm talking about it. And, God has helped me see the beauty and love in all things. And he guides, me to seek the truth. He's there for me during my hardest days. And he takes me to peace when all around me is shit, basically. And it's no longer, we're no longer victims. So it's easy, easy to get past that. But our friendship it's growing on a daily basis, and it grows. And perhaps the greatest thing is he gives me in this friendship is, no matter how bad things are in life around me, I know things are going to be okay. I can get, fucked up in my head for a minute and think that things are bad. And then all of a sudden I just go, wait a minute, I mean, I can do anything, and and I know he's there. And the most important thing in life is to figure out who you are. It's beyond our name, beyond our thoughts, beyond our human body, beyond life. What is this intelligence we have? What regulates our heartbeat? What regulates our sleep cycles? What keeps us growing? Think about it. Perfect questions to think about. What is this intelligence that always has told us maybe sometimes a hunch of what we're doing wrong or what we're doing right? What is the intelligence that brings us to the right place or the right people? What makes it happen flawlessly? So when we think about life, people think birth to death, childhood memories, people we've encountered, these amazing adventures we've gone on, beautiful, places. We think of the people we love. Maybe we think of our life story, our ups and downs, our glory, our dreams, whatever it is. But there's another dimension of life, a part of us that few ever think about, that lose many. And a part of that is, that's full of hope. A part of that where miracles happen, where there's, infinity, unity, love. When we find that place, we get all the answers we need. And we awaken to deeper and deeper intelligences. It's not far away from you. You don't need to get close to it. I don't need to get closer to God. It's deep down within you. All you need to do is get to know it. Sit quietly and breathe. But know that the place, the road, the way, the path, or whatever you want to call it, even if you don't call it God, it speaks to every one of us. It's a calling. Many are called upon, but few accept the call. For the ones who accept the call, the whole universe becomes, it's a light. That's why, life transforms in from ordinary into miracles, extraordinary, and no limitations, infinity. And for that life, I look at it every day and I, thank you for this peace of mind. Thank you for the opportunities. Thanks for giving me back what I went away from. Thank you for loving me no matter what I've done. All that stuff. Give me the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to help others. Thank you for helping me awaken my mind, body, and spirit. Give me the opportunity to help others. Beautiful. Just thank you for this journey. The freedom. So we're going to sit back for a few minutes in silence and give thanks to this stuff. And we're going to do a meditation. But, the thing about it is we live in a world with constant noise and distractions, and we need a tool to turn down the volume and go into silence. And the most effective way is that's meditation. Life's a mystery. Meditation is the unfolding of that mystery. And with meditation, we're experiencing part of us that's beyond our identity. It's a level of consciousness. There is no I, no you, no me, no us, only spirit. And that's why meditation is not a religion. It's a silence of connecting to that spirit. It's liberation from restlessness to focus to ease and at peace. So we're going to focus on that peace. And I'm going to turn off the recording right now because I don't want to get distracted. And